Everyone thinks the Garmin Forerunner 255 is just a mid-range running watch, but here's the thing, it behaves like a mini tri-coach that embarrasses pricier wearables because its GPS accuracy, training tools, and battery life punch way above the price tag. But it's not perfect, and there are 3 things you absolutely need to know before you hit buy. I spent 3 weeks with the 46 model, logging 12 runs, 2 track sessions, a brick ride, and an open water swim, plus nightly HRV tracking. What I discovered changed how I train, and it might change your buying decision too. Before we dive into what I discovered, a quick heads up: if you're already convinced and want the best current price, I've got the link below. But stick around, because the twist in point number 2 could save you money and frustration. Here's why I even picked up the Forerunner 255. I needed a watch that could nail GPS in city canyons, give me training guidance that wasn't fluff, and last more than a week without babysitting a charger. My old watch struggled on downtown routes and had me guessing recovery. I'm prepping for a 10K PR with side quests into triathlons, so I wanted tri-mode without paying flagship prices. The 255 was tempting, 4.7-star rating, around 257.50 when I checked. 14-day smartwatch battery, 30 hours of GPS, dual-size options, and a sunlight-treatable screen. But I was skeptical. Daily suggested workouts, HRV status, race day widget. Honestly, that sounded like marketing fairy dust. So I decided to test it like I actually train, not how the brochure says. First test, GPS where watches usually blow it. I ran a 5-mile loop through a high-rise corridor. On multi-band GPS, the 255 clocked 5.02 miles versus a wheel-measured 5.00, with clean corners and minimal wobble. On screen, you'll see the route. It stuck to the sidewalk instead of bouncing across buildings. Switch to all systems, no multiband, and it recorded 4.98 miles, still solid. On the track, multiband was decent but had micro shifts on the first lap. Track mode fixed it with laser straight laps. Open water swim, the trace hugged the shoreline better than I expected for a non-flagship. Battery next. Garmin claims up to 14 days smartwatch and up to 30 hours GPS. In my real-world week 5 runs, 24/7 HRV notifications, and 2 short rides, I got 10.5 days on a charge. GPS drain averaged 3 to 3.5% per hour on multiband, closer to 2% on all systems. That's strong. If you only run a few times a week, you'll see the advertised 2 weeks. If you're training hard, you're still comfortably above a week. Training tools, this was the big test. Morning report pulls in sleep, HRV status, weather, and a suggested workout. It takes about 3 weeks to establish your HRV baseline. Once it locked in, the guidance got weirdly intuitive. After a poor sleep and elevated resting HR, it dialed back intensity. The race widget used my course profile and recent load to predict a 10K in 42:40. I ran 42:53, close enough to get my attention. The daily suggested workouts actually adapted. After a tough tempo I didn't fully recover from, it shifted the next day to easy aerobic with strides rather than stubbornly pushing intervals. Training status and recovery time were honest, not fear-mongering, just useful. Smartwatch stuff and comfort. The always-on transflective display is readable in direct sun and gentle indoors. No touchscreen, just 5 buttons. Some will love that for sweaty runs, others might miss swipes. It's light on the wrist, water rated to 5 ATM, and it survived pool and rain workouts without drama. Garmin Pay worked fine for a post-run coffee. Music, only on the 255 music variant. This base 255 does not store offline music. Optical heart rate was accurate on steady runs but lagged in sprints. Pair a chest strap for intervals. And if you want running power on the wrist, you'll need a Running Dynamics Pod or HRM Pro. With either, you also unlock ground contact, time balance, stride length, and vertical ratio, great for form nerds. Here's where it gets interesting, the 3 things you need to know. First, multiband GPS is incredible, but you don't need it every day. The sweet spot is all systems for most routes and multiband only in tricky environments. That combo gave me near flagship accuracy with noticeably better battery life. Bonus, use track mode on the oval, not raw multiband. Second, the training ecosystem is the real value. Daily suggested workouts, HRV-informed morning report, and the race widget aren't gimmicks when your baseline is set. They adapt meaningfully, and with Garmin coach plans for 5K, 10K, and half marathons, you're getting a legit strategy, not generic prompts. It's like a quiet coach nudging you toward the right load instead of yelling "go harder." Third, manage your smartwatch expectations. The 255 is built for runners and triathletes first. No AMOLED, no touchscreen, no built-in music on the non-music model, and running power requires an accessory. If you want flashy visuals and wrist-only power, you'll be happier with the Forerunner 265, but you'll pay a lot more. Compared with the Coros Pace 2, the 255 costs more but gives you HRV status, Garmin Pay, stronger navigation options, and a deeper training platform. Versus an Apple Watch, the 255 wins on battery, native training tools, and sunlight readability. Now that you know where the 255 shines and where it doesn't grab it while the price sits in that sweet mid-range and stock is steady. I'll keep the best current deal linked below. If you're eyeing the music model, check both listings, prices swing. Bottom line, the Garmin Forerunner 255 is the runner's watch that delivers flagship-level GPS, genuinely useful training guidance, and week-plus battery at a mid-range price. Get it if you run or race regularly, want triathlon mode, care about accuracy, and prefer function over flash. Skip it if you need an AMOLED touchscreen, native wrist power, or offline music without upgrading to the music variant. For most runners, this is the smartest spend right now. Train smarter, race calmer, and let the watch do the quiet coaching so you can do the fast running.